here the plants are also living organisms. Here how they are respiring, how they are breathing. In the breathing process, all the living organisms are having living cells also. Living cells, sometimes some dead cells are also present. But here in living cells, the respiration or breathing is taking place. So what is breathing? Already we discussed here the intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide. So here how the plants are taking oxygen and how they are releasing carbon dioxide. So mainly here the oxygen, intake of oxygen and release carbon dioxide. In any respiration, generally in aerobic respirations, oxygen is taken inside and release the carbon dioxide. So here the higher organisms are mainly animals. In animals, specific respiratory organs are there, specialized organs. So the respiratory organs are absent in the plants. Here the respiratory organs are absent in so respiratory organs, they are absent in plants. So why they are how the respiration is taking place in plants? So what are the reasons for the absence of these respiratory organs? There are different reasons are there. First one is in plants, all cells are all parts of all cells are taking care for respiration. So mainly, so all the cells, all the living cells take care of gaseous exchange. It is nothing but a gaseous exchange. So all the living cells take care of gaseous exchange. So that's why here the presence of respiratory organs, it is not necessary. So all the living cells are taking care for gaseous exchange. So that's why the respiratory organs are not compulsory. And next one, the second reason is here the demand, there is oxygen demand or the gaseous exchange demand. So the demand is very less. So in leaf, root system, or in the leaves and stem, the respiration rate is very slow or low. So respiration rate is low in different parts of plant, leaves, stem and roots. So the demand is very less. So the oxygen, intake of oxygen, it is very less in leaves, stem, roots. So the demand of oxygen is very less. So why it is less? In photosynthetic organs, in photosynthetic plants, photosynthetic organs are photosynthetic parts. Here the photosynthesis is taking place. What is photosynthesis? So the synthesis of food materials. So in the photosynthesis process, the oxygen, it is released, carbon dioxide is consumed and oxygen is released. So that oxygen is also present in some parts like leaves or in the photosynthetic cells, photosynthetic organs. So in the photosynthetic process, already here some oxygen is released, that oxygen is present in the leaves. That's why that oxygen is consumed in the respiration process. So that's why here the demand of oxygen is less here in leaves as well as in stems and roots also. So here the oxygen which is released in the photosynthesis process, it is utilized in the respiration. So So the exchange is taking place within the cell only. So from photosynthesis to respiration, respiration to photosynthesis also. Sometimes in the respiration, carbon dioxide is released. That carbon dioxide is consumed in the photosynthesis process. So here the gaseous exchange is taking place inside the cells only. In these parts, here the demand of oxygen is less. That's why the respiratory, specialized respiratory organs, it is not necessary. That's why they are absent. In the absence also, the respiration is taking place. And the third reason is here every cell, every living cell in the plant body, every living cell, it is exposed, or it is directly or indirectly, it is exposed to the surface of the plant pots. All living cells are in contact with surface of the air, surface of the all living cells within the plant body, all living cells are in contact with the surface of the plant. So in leaf surface, upper epidermis, lower epidermis, in the stem also, here outer epidermis, in the root also epidermis is present. In the older stems, the bark is present. Okay, here, do plants breathe? In animals, a specific respiratory organ is there. So with the help of that specific respiratory organ, they respire. But in plants, there are no specialized respiratory organs. Here how they are respiring, how they are breathing. So here intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide. It is facilitated through the intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide, facilitated by stomata. The gaseous exchange is taking place through the stomata and sometimes lenticels also. Lenticels. Here the stomata and lenticels are helping in the gaseous exchange. So why the respiratory organs are absent in plants? Here what are the reasons? Here there are three reasons are there. The first reason is, so all the living cells take care of gaseous exchange. So all living cells are helping in the gaseous exchange. Sometimes from one cell to another cell also the gases are exchanged in very low level. The second reason is respiration rate is low in leaves, stems, roots. So why the respiration rate is very low in these parts or in the plants? Why? Because here in photosynthesis process the oxygen is released. This oxygen is consumed in the respiration process. So mainly in the leaves the photosynthesis is taking place, or in green plant pots the photosynthesis is taking place. So in the process of photosynthesis oxygen is released. That oxygen is consumed in the respiration process, and vice versa also. Here in respiration the carbon dioxide is released. This carbon dioxide is consumed in the photosynthesis process. Like that gases are exchanged. So between the photosynthesis and respiration process the gases are gases exchange is taking place. So that's why the demand of oxygen from outside the oxygen intake, demand of oxygen is very less. So here that's why the respiratory organs, the presence of respiratory organs, it is not necessary. That's why they are absent. And next, all living cells in the plant body, all living cells are in contact with the surface of the plant. So here within the plant body, here all the living cells, in all living cells the cellular respiration, inside the cell the cellular respiration is taking place. So here all living cells are in contact with surface of the plant. So inside the plant, inside the epidermis, so if you see the young plant or mature plant, In young plant, if it is young plant, it is the epidermis. The epidermal cells are living cells. The living cells are respiring, or the gas exchange is taking place from outside to inside. Next, sometimes in mature plant or in the bulky, large plants, in large plants, the outer part in the stem, the outer portion, it is not living. So it is bark or dead layer. So bark is generally, it is dead. So most of the tissue in the bark, most of the tissues are dead. So the bark, in the bark, no respiration is taking place. So how in a mature plant, how the gases are exchanged? In young plant, the gases are exchanged through the stomata, but in the mature plant, the bark is there. So here in the bark also, some lens-shaped openings are present. Lens-shaped openings are called as lenticels. Through the lenticels, the gases are exchanged. The gases are entering into the plant body. And here inside the bark also, most of living cells, the living cells are loosely arranged. So generally inside the epidermis or inside the bark, the living cells are loosely arranged or parenchyma. So if the cells are loosely arranged, here easily the gases exchange is taking place. Here the plant body, it is in contact with the air, outer atmosphere, the gases enter inside the plant body, and here between the cell to cell, between the cells, here some gap is there. The gaps are called as intercellular spaces. Through the intercellular spaces, the gases are also here exchanged. So like this here, because of all these reasons, here the respiratory organs are absent in plants. So why? Because here, so all the living cells are taking care, and respiration rate is very less, and demand is also, oxygen demand is also very less, and all cells are also directly or indirectly in contact with the surface of the plant. So in mature plant, the gases are exchanged through the lenticels. In young plants, through the stomata, and in mature plants, through the lenticels, the gases are exchanged.